If you told me a few years ago I'd be running a 7-figure Amazon business while still in school, I would not believe you one bit. But here I am. Last year I did $1.5 million in sales on Amazon with over 500K in December alone. In this video, I'm going to be taking you through my entire journey, how I got started, the struggles I faced, and how I scaled my business while still being a full-time student. So as you can see, this is my sales dashboard from last year. This was the $1.5 million mark that I had reached through the second half of December. I'd taken the screenshot. I'd really surprised myself with the sales this year, and it was a 200% growth from last year, which was huge for my business. So as you can see, this is a small screenshot of my Instagram up here. I had started my Amazon Instagram page to meet new sellers. When I first started Amazon, I had no idea that other sellers really existed or posted online until I had joined a huge Discord, the Launchpad one, and a bunch of people recommended to network on Instagram and Twitter. So I pretty much had done just that, and I created an account even though I was just posting photos of boxes of shipments and small orange bars. I did DM a lot of people and started to reach out, and it was very successful because I was able to meet a bunch of people, which has been so amazing and made it so fun for me. And now I get to start sharing videos and explain my journey and help people starting out. So posting content, even whether it's small photos or videos themselves, have been a huge part of my business itself. So a little bit about me. I am a full-time student. I am able to pretty much work and maintain my grades, my social life, and the balance of work while still doing hobbies, which is the beauty of Amazon and was a major interest for me when I actually initially started. I do really like DJing and music production, as you can see a photo here of my board. Whether it's making mixtapes on my computer or DJing for parties, grad parties, whatever it happens to be, I've always had a interest in music production, and it's been amazing to be able to fund that hobby with Amazon, as some of the equipment can be very expensive. Also, I do really like to ski, as you can see a bottom photo there with my friends on a mountain in Vermont. I will go up north and ski whenever I can in the winter, and has been a hobby pretty much my whole life. But again, I was not constricted to an hourly job that wouldn't allow me to travel on the weekends. Again, that seems to be a common theme why I started Amazon, and other sellers I talked to generally was just having to commit to hours at a restaurant or a retail store was super hard for me, and really restricted what I wanted to do. I also do really like to go outdoors. I like to fish, and so it just kind of goes along with the theme. If I'm able to work when I want to work, I can do the other things that I want to do when I'm free. So that was a huge initial part of starting Amazon for me. So before I started Amazon, the first job I ever had was mowing lawns around my neighborhood. I would do it for $50 a lawn, and they were pretty big parts, and I would do it with my small push mower, but it was great money straight to the Venmo. And I got to do it on my own time, which had really rooted my interest in working for myself. I would see my dad coming home from work after really long days, and from a very young age, I told him that there was no way I wanted to do this when I was older, and I really wanted to be able to work on my own time. And as you can see, these two photos here are window washing shortly after the lawn mowing. I did work as a barback at a restaurant for a little bit. That did not last for too long because I really did not like the hours. And that summer I did start knocking doors, going door to door with my buddy, trying to pitch window cleaning. It was really great for learning confidence and sales pitch. And it was pretty good money too. We'd go out in the summer and work, whether in the morning or afternoon, whatever we wanted to do with our schedule. And we washed windows for the whole summer, and it was great money. I just didn't really see the scalability in it, and so that's why I did really stick with Amazon and launch my time in there. Again, I still do really believe in the social aspect of school and the ability to communicate with others and just grow with people your age. So I still have a full interest in doing school and being a part of that. While maybe not taking classes fully seriously for the letter grade. As I did just mention I would see my dad come home from work, and I really did not want to have to work that late in the day or those certain hours stuck to the time. It always had a certain part of me that I just knew I wanted to start my own business or do something on my own. I still am really invested in school, and I do believe it's important for people our age. Just the social aspect, growing with people your age is super awesome. And, learning to live with and communicate and go out with people your age is super awesome. So I still really believe the school part is amazing. But typically the corporate 9 to 5 and, the retire at 65 that you see online all the time, is something I didn't really want from a young age. So it was a big part of motivation for me to start a business. And Amazon was what I found ultimately, but the motive to stick with it and continue with it year over year has really been the end goal of, when I'm in my 30s and 40s and I don't want to still be working. As you can see here, this is one of the initial posts I had on my Instagram. It was a couple box shipments that I was going to send out for a UPS pickup, and it was some retail stores doing arbitrage, some orders from online, a couple sales I found. and this was one of my biggest shipments to date. I initially started just doing straight retail arbitrage. I'd go to stores with my mom. I did not even have my license yet. That was great. We started to scan items and, just bring them home, package them up with my mom and send them out. It was great just for learning the, initial part of Amazon, and you get to see the process in hand, which I think is why I recommend retail arbitrage a lot for people starting, is you get to actually see the physical product and scan it, and you can look at the data and then bring it home. Where ordering it, you kind of don't know anything about the product, and then you have to order and wait for it to come in. So I really did like the proof of concept with retail arbitrage, and then did eventually move into online arbitrage, just learning those ropes of sourcing websites and sales, learning cashback and coupons, and trying to find ways to basically just buy all my inventory from my computer and not have to drive store to store. This was my first 10K month. It was a huge milestone for me at the time. I was super happy to reach this, and I really had started to see proof of concept with Amazon itself. My family did too. I was either bringing in packages every day or packing them every night, or going to stores every night, or just sourcing on my computer. Pretty much every night they knew what I was doing. And at this time I was really working with a 20 to 25% margin as I was doing everything in-house. So making that kind of money pretty much, by doing a business self-employed, I really started to see the potential in Amazon, month over month, year over year. So as you can see, this was a picture of a bunch of shoes in my living room. It was a snipe sale in the fall right before the Q4 rush. I drove all over Philly to all the different snipe stores, picking them up and loading them up in my car. It was great to spend this type of money and send everything in. I was selling mostly sneakers and clothing at the time. Pennsylvania is sales tax free, so I did really use that to my advantage to not have to pay that 6% on every purchase. And that's pretty much what I stuck with until I found new categories in online arbitrage. But pretty much for retail in the beginning of OA, I really had just stuck with clothing and sneakers. This was my first really big month. The month before this, in July, I had done around 25K in sales, so it was a 200% growth, which was really good for me. And doing 60K in sales, it was a ton of work. I was pretty much FBMing every single day during the back to school rush. I was waking up, packing like 100 orders with my mom, take to the USPS store. I was washing windows with my friend at the time, so we'd go wash windows for a couple hours, come back home, order more inventory, and pack more orders. It was an absolute grind. But again, at the time, this was my first month that I had made 10K profit, and that's when I really completely changed my mind with Amazon and was like, this is what I'm sticking with. I'm fully committing to this, my time, and I'm going to learn to be better at this and delegate systems over time. Again, the power of networking. This is a seller dinner at Fogo de Chao Steakhouse of a bunch of PA sellers through a coaching program and mentorship that I had joined. Pretty much through all my success, the 60K month of back to school that I just talked about, that was Zoom calls with my friends every day that I had met online. We were sourcing together, building together, and doing everything together was so much more fun and enjoyable, and it took away the actual work and business aspect of it and kind of just made it a fun game for us to do every day. And this was when I got to meet everyone in person. It was around December, and it was cool kind of seeing everyone that I had talked online to every day for the past couple months. So doing 100K a month was numbers that other sellers would dish out to me, and I just never thought was possible. Through a lot of work, a bunch of shipments, failures, bad buys, networking, and really building my capital over time, month over month, just putting everything back in the business. I had started to do 100K months and really started to see the volume at scale, putting in systems, hiring virtual assistants, utilizing a prep center, and the sales were amazing. We're talking about 15%, 20% margin. Really seeing 10 to 20K profit a month from these sales, especially when putting systems in like a prep center or putting admin work to a virtual assistant, really showed me how this business could really be fully remote eventually. Not only could it make really good money, but I could also put in, certain paths in this business that would allow me to buy back a lot of my time. And again, the feeling for this was really surreal. I had started out doing $500 in sales my first month. I kind of just felt like I was doing eBay, FBMing everything, to starting to send in FBA shipments, to starting to post on Instagram and meet sellers and ask questions all day long because I had absolutely no idea what I was doing, to starting to actually ramp up, to really just putting all the money back in the business, to actually starting to do 10K a month, and then I reached 50K, 60K a month, and then I really finally reached 100K a month, and I'd really seen how I could be on the right path to be a seven-figure seller, which is kind of the dream for all the starters. At the end of 2024, I had really reached the unreal month that I didn't even know was coming. I had actually set 250K sales as my goal for December. I remember talking to one of my really good friends, Deke, in the beginning of November, and I said, yeah, I think I might be able to do 250K if I really grind in December. And we had really honestly reached $550,000 in sales at the end. It was absolutely insane. I had one day where we did $60,000 in sales. And so I initially talked about a big milestone for me when I started was $10,000 in sales. And then it was a big month with $60K in sales where I had made $10,000 profit that month. And then I did it in one day, and it completely changed my mind. So I was able to see how, building skills month over month, continuing to build with your friends and putting money back into the business, you can really grow exponentially, especially with Amazon itself. So my family was all in at this point. As you can see the boxes in the driveway, there were days and weeks where my mom couldn't even pull her car in our driveway, and both garages were completely full of boxes, tables set up. We were still doing some in-house operations, a ton of FBM, and it was an absolute grind of 2024. I had reached $1 million in sales at the end of the summer and was really happy with my success. In the last trailing months, I had reached 7 figures, and then to do $500K in December and make that kind of money with the systems I'd put in and the time put into that felt so rewarding. And it really felt like I was able to achieve, pretty much anything with Amazon and continue to build into 2025. Even then it was, still going to school every day. I had friends over at my house every single day packing orders. As though it was a huge time commitment, I wouldn't have traded it for anything. Getting 4 hours of sleep on a school night and going to school like nothing happened, and then going home that afternoon to pack 1,000 orders was absolutely insane. But again, was probably one of the best months of my life. So as you can see with these photos, arbitrage was really great as I was able to bring myself to a 7-figure seller with just online arbitrage, systems with VAs to do sourcing and admin work, prep centers to do all of my prep and send my inventory to Amazon. And you can even go into third-party systems for returns, so you really never have to touch a single product. But the problem with online arbitrage is you really have to source, daily, weekly, put in those systems. You have to find new leads, new categories, new sales, new websites. And it's because it becomes very saturated. You find one loop of a product on a website with a coupon, and the next day a bunch of other people are seeing it, and the next month 20, 30 new sellers are on that listing. And it becomes an issue to really lock in deals with brands and grow long term, where you do have to consistently start that news cycle of finding new stuff. On top of this, the ever-growing problems with Amazon sellers did not stop last year. It got really worse. We've had multiple months of hard regating of countless brands, sellers losing their entire catalog, and that being online arbitrage sellers. It starts with the fact that order confirmations don't always get accepted in this problem of Amazon. You'll have a lot of trouble and oftentimes have to resubmit countless times. And if you get deactivated, there's nothing you can really do. Sometimes they will just hard gate you, and there's no way to reapply. There's no letter of authorization that you can get from a huge brand like Adidas. And it grows into a part where you're actually risking a lot of your money because you have to buy these products before they sell. And they're all being stored in, third-party Amazon warehouse locations. And so you're not able to have, control over any of these physical products at a time, and you could get fully gated. And those are the horror stories you hear about Amazon. It's the retail arbitrage sellers, the online arbitrage sellers. They don't have proper, invoicing or documentation of all their products. So it does tend to be honestly pretty risky in certain parts of it. As you can see here, this is the infamous email of the Section 3. I've had friends in 2024 that have lost their entire storefront. They woke up the next morning and everything was gated. There was no option to reapply. One of my best friends, Brian, had an absolute horror story. Woke up one morning with an email saying, starting tomorrow, all these brands will be restricted on your account. And he had to remove everything and liquidate, and there was really no other option. So again, there is a ton of risk. Section 3s happen. The roller coasters are never ending. Especially as a beginner, you wake up, your account's deactivated, you have to submit your social security number, and then you have to submit a bank statement, and then you have to get ungated, and you get denied, and you have to reapply. And there's a lot of challenges, and it pretty much seems like there was never-ending obstacles for me along this journey. I know I was able to do a significant amount of sales and growth in 2024, but it felt like every week there was a new problem. Every day, every hour, I was facing something new and having to learn a new challenge. This is what had really, initially sparked my interest for wholesale. First, it had to be the replenishable products, locking deals with distributions and brand direct accounts, and not having to continuously source new leads and really just replenish purchase orders monthly, bi-monthly, whatever it had to be, really interests me. To build these long-term deals and relationships seemed like way better logistics than checking out on a retail website. And, more so than that, it seemed to be way less risky. If you were able to validate the supplier or work directly with the brand, There was no way that you could get gated if you had a letter of authorization for the brand, and there was no way you would ever have to face, an inauthentic complaint or an IP complaint if you had direct invoicing from the brand. So, speaking long term with Amazon, and as I was growing my capital to be a lot larger than what I had started with, I wanted to make sure my money was going in a safe place, and that's why Wholesale had started to spark my interest. Obviously, I had a bunch of questions when I started to look into Wholesale, and I know a bunch of people have the similar questions when they start. The first one usually be, how do I find suppliers? Where do I find a distributor? Where to look online? There's thousands that I see all over the trucks when you're driving. There's thousands when you search up wholesalers near me. How do I know if they're legit? How do I validate that their products aren't stolen? So many questions to start with. Even once you tackle those, then it happens to be outreach. How do I contact these brands? Why would they want to talk to me? How do I sound professional? Do I have a script? It seems like every step of the process, there are more questions, and it's foreign to all of us. Then it being secure, why would they want to work with me? How do I provide the brand value other than just telling them I'm going to resell their products? And how do I handle objections when they tell me they don't want to sell to third-party sellers? They don't want me selling on Amazon. How do I handle these rejections that I'm going to face constantly? On top of that, even if I'm able to secure an account, how do I source a catalog with 5,000 products? How do I check for profitability quickly and not have to individually manually source every product? Can I negotiate on a price? How am I able to place a purchase order? And what if nothing's profitable? It seems like no matter how far you could get along the wholesale process, there still are more questions, even scaling. How do I get a fulfillment center for wholesale because they can't, deliver to my residential address? How can I leverage connections to get more accounts past one brand? And, when am I supposed to outsource work to a VA to source catalogs? And how do I prevent leakage on, tens of thousands of dollars of orders that are huge from distributions or directly from the brand? One of the big wholesaler accounts that I had been following for a while and really started to pay attention to was Dan, otherwise known as 1,000 ASINs. Doing 18 million from a store in 1 year is just unreal. I really admired his logistics and his business, his in-house operations, and how he would talk about contacting brands, wanting to provide them value and actually looking to have a long-term relationship with these brands and become one of the only sellers, be fully exclusive with a brand, and really have full control over all these listings on Amazon. So seeing his, orange bars that he posted, seeing his sales and how he was, taking on logistics in his business really sparked my interest to kind of go all in on wholesale. So this is when I decided to take some of my profits and actually become one of Dan's first students. Through his mentorship program, through his, course that he had made, I was able to learn all the roots of wholesale. Went through, finding suppliers, how to contact them, how to secure the accounts, how to source the catalogs. Literally any question that I went over was honestly answered right away in the course. Along with his one-on-one help, I was able to build a strong foundation for wholesale because the mistakes I made with OA, a bad buy might have cost me $100. Buying products that don't sell and I had to return them back to me might have cost me, $50. But a wholesale mistake can cost you thousands of dollars as you're dealing with way larger buys and strong relationships. So this was really important for me to have a mentor and do this the right way. As a result of working hard, I was able to reach almost $250,000 in just a week of sales. Wholesale Deals had honestly launched my business so much faster than I expected it to. Being able to order units to the prep center and really consolidate my sourcing to be one purchase order, maybe a couple over a month, and work directly with brands had cut out so much time that I had to do smaller checkouts and different sourcing on different websites with OA. And I was really able to streamline my business with the capital that I had. So now, after contacting hundreds and hundreds of brands, sending thousands of emails, and really learning the true ropes of wholesale, purchasing orders, preventing leakage, and implementing systems with VAs to buy back my time, I am now an ECG coach of wholesale, helping others start their business and honestly learn from the ground up how to properly start Amazon wholesale. Seeing the success of newly joined clients has been honestly amazing. Seeing them tackle it hand first after going through the course and cold calling brands out of nowhere and securing tens of accounts brand direct that I didn't even know could exist has been just honestly amazing. Their success implemented with the roadmap has been so cool to see how someone could take their $10,000 a month OA business and scale up to 6 figures per month just by implementing a couple brand direct accounts. On top of that, we're even doing cool challenges like the most wholesale accounts secured in 60 days, getting free tickets to Miami Sellers Conference. Even seeing them network upon themselves is where I initially started and struggled the most, was to meet new sellers and put myself out there. So seeing people able to do this in the group has been amazing, and just build a community together. And to close this out, I really hope that this video had inspired any students right now like me, really doing schoolwork, being an athlete, maintaining a social life, and really wanting to, start something new and build something bigger than themselves despite not having much time, finding time to commit to this and really learn something. Anyone along in your Amazon FBA journey, look where you're at. If you want to grow, maybe you want to start finding new sellers to talk to. Maybe you want to seek mentorship. Maybe you want to start watching more YouTube videos. Whatever it may be along your journey, again, stick with it. It was so long until I saw some real success with Amazon, and really implement the systems around you, the sources that you have. Talk to sellers every day. Listen to podcasts every day. Watch YouTube videos whenever you can. I hope that this inspires you, that anything is possible. If a full-time student can do it and put in systems to, achieve 7 figures in a year, you can do it too. And that's, my journey in Amazon so far. And I'm looking forward to how 2025 is.